So Patrick, do we describe this for everybody, Rob?
What?
You describe it. You describe it. What? I do enough talking.
Whatever. What?
I think any car's dead in iRacing. I think it's gone.
Oh, it's definitely. I agree. It's not going to survive much, but I still think we'll find opportunities to race it, just not as fruitful as before. Some of them just want to make. What's the thing? Like that guy wanted to make like dolls out of Tyler's hair, but then there's just other guys who are just like. He did. He would say weird things to Tyler, man. Like he was a strange guy. And then like other guys would just show up out of nowhere. He's like, "Oh, we never met you? Sure, come race this 24 with us." And then just jump in the car and wreck us out in a lap and be like, "Okay, never see you again."
Yeah, that was
okay. Well, better luck next year, I guess.
That was the guy from.
Welcome back to the XSLR Championship for Race 5 of Season 5 of this series from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. My name is Alex Andersen. I've been joined in the commentary booth by Daniel Hall with Jonathan Grabowski in our virtual production truck, and we are here at this very iconic oval in the Carolinas, the Eastern United States. Very, very unique and very, very beloved track by many drivers and fans. And we're here at the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway for what is surely going to be an exhilarating 60-lap race from the mile-and-a-half-long oval. And Daniel, I mean, just what a race we had last week from the Phoenix Road Course. I mean, it looked like Bobby Ross really just had that in the bag, or excuse me, no, Josh Klogg had that in the bag throughout the entire first half of the race. He had Bobby Ross chasing him, but Bobby just really couldn't get close enough to make any sort of move. And through the pit stops, Daniel, I'm getting my names all mixed up right now.
Yep, it's
so, yeah, through the pit stops, it looks like, I don't think Jake Luther, I believe, won last week. I was just looking for his name on the timing tower, but Jake Luther with the win last week from Phoenix got the lead off the pit stops. And Daniel, what an impressive strategy it was.
Yeah, that was a really well played and well executed strategy by him to snag that win. So we've seen some of that already this season, some strategy calls that have really paid off, and I think that's going to be a common theme throughout this whole season.
Yeah, and we're looking at Jake Luther, last week's winner. Now we're looking at Josh Klogg, the last week runner-up. He set a 33.28 his last time. I will see if we can beat this lap. Moves it up more towards the middle of the track on a second qualifying lap. We'll see if he can improve on it as he comes through 3 and 4. Here's Adam Thompson, owner of this series. He gets a 33.11 in his first lap, but looks like he won't be improving on his second lap there, as he's going to maintain second place. So Jake Luther still on a provisional pole. Jake Ham across the line to complete another lap. We'll see where that puts him. And it looks like it's going to put him in 6th with a 33.67. And in P3, we have Justin Barrera, and he's currently sitting in P3 with his 33.16. And Daniel, last week, Justin had a really impressive showing, and one thing about that, where he couldn't really just show how fast he was last week, and that was because of where he started. He started almost last on the grid, but he was still putting down times that were faster than leaders. Do you think he might be able to get one done tonight?
He could. This is a slightly different track than we saw last week, but starting position still is going to be a factor tonight, because I don't believe, even though we're going to see some pack racing, I'm not sure how much passing we'll get to see. It might be hard to generate runs, and we'll see if anybody can really move their way through the field.
Yeah, and speaking of the pack racing that's going to take place across 60 laps at this racetrack, going on to that, the damage at that's going to be in place at this event. We're going to have damage healing, and what that means is if a car takes damage during this race, after a couple of seconds iRacing will automatically repair the car. No pitting needed, no fast repair necessary, just instantly just fixes the damage. And that is because with pack racing in these cars, you can push the car in front of you. And what that means, when you get your front bumper onto the rear bumper of another one of these cars, you can push each other down these straights and through these corners, and it gives you a nice speed boost to help improve your speed and maybe catch up to the leaders or try and pull away from the main pack. So we're not going to see drivers pretty much DNFing from this race as if they get damaged or if they get involved in a wreck. They're going to just have their car fixed automatically, so they won't have to worry about anything like that. So just going to be a very interesting race, as pretty much everybody is going to have a shot until the final lap.
Yeah, really interesting dynamic with that healing damage. You still can feel the effects of getting in a wreck and having to go to the back, but with caution flags and damage healing enabled, it's not an end to your race by any means.
Yeah, and Jimmy Howett currently sitting P7, just about 5 thousandths precisely off of Josh Clog there, both of them with 33.28 as we're in the final 20 seconds of qualifying, so last chance for these drivers to get a lap in. Looks like Jimmy Howett is going to complete his second lap as he comes off turn number 4. We'll see if he can improve on it. Just about 5 seconds left in qualifying. Across the line, does he improve from 7th? It looks like he does not. So Jimmy Howett going to maintain 7th place. We'll see if we can pull up your starting grid for tonight's race from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. There it is. So Jake, I think that might be just a little bit. No, that is actually accurate. So I think we have just a slight issue with the overlays. There it goes. Now it's working properly. So Jake Luther on pole by just about 0.02 of a second over Adam Thompson, and Justin Barrera is there in P3, Jake Ham in P4, Kevin Irwin in P5, Josh Clog looking to get redemption after last week there in P6, Jimmy Howett in P7, Bobby Ross in 8th, Tim Cox in P9, and Chet Duranic in 10th. And those bottom three, Bobby Ross, Tim Cox, and Chet Duranic, did not set a lap. So with the pack racing style of racing that's going to be seen tonight, Daniel, you think it might be tactical to just stay in the back and try and avoid wrecks and just get up front right at the end of the race?
You could definitely see that. We might see 2 packs start to form, the leaders that want to kind of get out, set the pace, try to build a little bit of a gap, and then some other guys that sit back, let the race come to them, just kind of bide their time, wait out the laps and the strategy, hoping to avoid any issues as they work up the pack, and they could be right there at the end.
Yeah, as all of the cars start to take to the grid tonight, we're currently looking at Kevin Irwin. Got his first podium in his career last season during the dirt road section. And with super speedway-esque racing like what we're going to be seeing tonight, there's really potential for anybody in the field to come out on top with their first win, given that it's full throttle and it's just all about timing your runs, getting the car to grip up at the right time, and just making moves at the right time, so that way you can be in first when the checkered flag eventually does fall after 60 laps at this 1.5-mile long racetrack. And what an iconic venue the Charlotte Motor Speedway is, home of the Coca-Cola 600. IMSA has raced here a couple of times as well using the road course, and NASCAR does also use the Charlotte Motor Speedway road course in one of their events across a 36 race schedule, and it takes place to the only 600-mile oval race on the NASCAR schedule. So very interesting, very unique venue, beloved by drivers and fans alike, and we are going to be in for a very interesting show tonight.
Yeah, this race won't be as long and as grueling as the 600 will be, but could still be wildly entertaining and pretty exciting.
Yeah, this race only about a tenth of what the Coca-Cola 600 is, but it's going to be a very exciting and action-packed race nonetheless, as 10 drivers on the grid gear up to see who can manipulate the draft the best and who can be there at the end when it all counts, as they round turns 3 and 4. coming off the banking now. In just a couple of seconds, the iRacing safety car going to make that hard left turn into the pit lane. There it goes, and now it is all up to the drivers as they await the restart zone to come down. And it looks like Jake Luther going for a little bit of a jump there, gets a very nice gap out front already. Adam Thompson going to try and follow closely now as the draft going to start to kick in for a lot of these drivers as they start to get up to speed on lap 1 of this race. Still side by side between Justin Barrera and Jake Ham behind him. Kevin Irwin and Josh Clogg in a bit of a fight back there as well. Single file through the top 3 as the field starts to get back together after the original start. Single file on the bottom for now. Nobody trying to make any moves. Justin Barrera looks to the outside. Kevin Irwin does not go with him and it's going to force him out of the groove. Jake Ham going to try and stick it out with Justin Barrera up there. Josh Clogg going to go for the same thing already. A very action-packed first lap of this race as drivers already starting to get into different lines to try and form up with this draft.
Yeah, I think we'll see the outside lane take a couple laps to kind of build their momentum after a restart and kind of work their way up past the inside row of the first pack.
Yeah, and with the way they're racing, this is something we saw at Daytona where just maintaining single file on the bottom was the preferred method of racing, and it looks like so far that is the name of the game here, just trying to maintain your position by staying single file. Adam Thompson looked to the outside there, didn't get anything done. Jake Ham and Josh Clogg side by side for 4th as it looked like Josh forced Jake Ham up top now as Chet Duranick starting to lose the field, but side by side a little bit further behind Justin Barrera as Jimmy Howard trying to take Jimmy Howard trying to take Bobby Ross and Tim Cox back up to this field. These 3 have gotten single file now. They should still have the draft of Justin Barrera to make their way back up towards the leaders, but it all depends on just the amount of momentum you have in a field. You just have to make sure that your car can grip up and catch back up to the field and maintain a nice solid run here tonight. Jake Luther still leads on lap 4.
Yeah, that second pack starting to form, but they got to be careful not to lose the lead draft, dropping back that far as we're on board with Adam Thompson. Looking like he's offset to the right just a little bit, maybe not comfortable with Jake being that low and just trying to stay single file, but maybe protect the run to the outside as well.
And the thing about being on the right side of the car in front of you, with pretty much any car during a pack race, is if you push the right rear of the car in front of you, can really get them to get a nice and grip-filled turn, so that way they can just make the corner easier and pull you along with them. So that might be what Adam is thinking here, just trying to push the right rear of the car ahead just to give them an easier time through these corners and just try and maintain the 1-2 spot up there. Kevin Irwin still maintaining P3. He hasn't really made a move, and really, now he's going to look to the outside. A little bit of contact there, though. That's going to allow Jake Ham to sail to the inside. Josh Clogg wanted to go with him, but didn't go for the gap. Now we'll go for the gap. We'll go below the apron even to try and get to the inside of Kevin Irwin now as they head into turns 3 and 4. 3 wide going into turn 3. Justin Barrera making the move on the outside. Almost contact between Kevin Irwin and Josh Clogg again. They'll get single file now as they head off turn 4, but that most certainly hurt the momentum, and that sent Kevin Irwin spiraling down the leaderboard.
Yeah, that was close. That was a mistake by Kevin Irwin getting out of line and just allowed kind of everybody to get by him and freight train him. But looks like he's tucked back in line behind Josh Clogg.
Yeah, so they will be okay, and they will maintain their spot at the front. But what that move did is it allowed these 3 cars back here to get back into the lead, a pack of Jimmy Howard, Bobby Ross, and Tim Cox. So these 3 now officially in the main pack, and it's all just going to depend on who makes the move and when and how many cars they can get in a line as the field really just fluctuates all over the racetrack right now, trying to search for any sort of speed to maybe make a move towards the front. Josh Clogg gets shuffled out of the field. He's up top now, getting passed by everybody to the inside. Tim Cox going to try and get a little bit of draft from him, but back to the apron Tim Cox will go, and that's going to send Josh Clogg to the back of this lead pack as Jake Luther still leads as they come to take lap 9. Adam Thompson has yet to go for a move.
Yeah, he's tucked up right behind him. He's looking like he's settling in, letting the race kind of work its way toward the midpoint of this race before he tries to do anything wild. But as you can see, clean track right in front of our leader. There is not much to do there. Just keep the car glued to the apron and hope buddies behind you to work together.
Yeah, and one thing that I don't think we've mentioned yet is that, like all XSLR asphalt, oval, and road races, is these drivers will have to make a pit stop for fuel during this race. That's just the custom for these drivers in the asphalt, oval, and asphalt road sections, is that their fuel will be limited, so they will have to make a pit stop at some time during this race. So what that pit window is, I am actually not quite sure, but it will come sometime throughout this race. As Tim Cox and Josh Plog trying to get something to go, or trying to get something to work on the outside. They couldn't get anything done at that time by, as the field still single file, just trying to log some laps and just get to the pit stops. And I think when that happens is when the field will really start to gear up for the fight at the end of the race.
Yeah, we'll see some strategy calls, and I think you get about 40 laps flat out. So after that, we'll start seeing pit cycle start up, and it really depends on where you're at in this pack. The leader, you got to be full throttle the whole time. If you're leading, you're only going to get probably right about 40 laps. If you're second, you'll get a couple more. If you're way in the back, you're going to be off the gas more than you're on the gas almost, and you could really get much better fuel mileage. The other thing that's going to play into determining the pit window is if any cautions come out. That can really help you save fuel and could extend that pit window a lot later.
And also, if the leader can make about 40 laps just staying flat out, that means that if a yellow comes out from lap 20 to lap 60, or if a yellow comes out from lap 20 to lap probably 40 for the leader, they can just come in and pit, and then they're fine under yellow. They don't have to worry about a pit stop under green. But I don't know if a yellow will come out unless somebody makes a really aggressive move, as everybody's just still staying single file, not trying to make any moves at the moment. Justin Barrera looked to the outside right now. He took Jimmy Howlett with him. Now Kevin Irwin going to move to the outside, try and get some momentum. But it just looks like the inside is so much superior in these corners that these drivers that move to the outside to try and make moves, they just can't get anything done up there.
Yeah, and that move up to the outside really let Bobby Ross get in there and just sneak by on the inside, just following the tracks of the first three cars, and he's up to fourth now.
Yeah, and that's another thing, is if you just maintain single file and just stay down on the bottom when other drivers go up to make, or at least to attempt to make a move, you can gain a lot of spots, as those other drivers just aren't going to be able to make up time on the outside. You can just slip right underneath him on the inside. That is exactly what Bobby Ross just did, and it moved him from pretty much the back of this main pack up to P4, and that's a very good improvement, because just even the further up you are in the field, the better. Pretty much at any point during this race, you can be better off during the pit stops. You can be, and especially you'll be better off at the end of the race. You'll have an easier time making a move for the win in that situation.
Yeah, the farther up you are, the better track position you have. After pit stop cycle out, we'll see if that helps or hurts. But right now, I think some of these drivers, you can tell, are really trying to do everything they can to get up and get the track position right now.
Yeah, and it looks like Jonathan Grabowski, our producer from the virtual production truck, has given a word that Adam told him that they should be able to make it to around lap 40 for green flag pit stops, and that's probably when everybody is going to come into the pits, depending on whether cautions come out or not. So we're looking at around lap 40 for pit stops, just like what you were estimating, Daniel. So good information to have, and it looks like we're almost halfway to that window now. We're on lap 17 of 60 already, only about probably 10 minutes into this race, so very quick laps going on from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And now, there goes the car around. That was Jimmy Howlett. That's going to bring out the first yellow tonight. It looks like it was only the 37 machine. Nobody else gets involved. He already tows back to the pit zone. I mean, he didn't have to do that. I'm not sure why he did tow. Could have just continued on his way because there is no damage. So replay coming up, and it looks like it's setting into turn 3. Kevin Irwin taps the apron there. but it looks like how it initiates the contact, comes down and taps the right front fender of Kevin Irwin, and that unsettles the number 7 car, and Kevin just slides back up the track into the left rear of the 37, sends Jimmy Howitt for a spin. And once again, due to the damage, I mean, he didn't really have to tow. I just think he wanted to get out of the way of any maybe oncoming traffic that could have possibly hit him. So he's currently going to sit idle in the pit lane for a while, and we'll see if there's any takers on pit road. Ooh, Jake Ham and Bobby Ross come into the pits, and so does Justin Barrera. So I think this means that these three are going to try and go to the end of the race if it goes green from here to the end. However, everybody else, it looks like, is going to rely on their green flag pit stop. So 3 drivers thinking that they might be able to save enough to make it to the end, and honestly, I don't blame them.
Yeah, they could definitely save if they'll be put back to the back of the pack, and they'll be able to save more fuel than if they were up running toward the front. But they're going to have to save and probably save pretty aggressively to get into... Oh, and Bobby's taking tires, it looks like, on the rear end jacked up. Looks like he only took rears, so it's another strategy goal.
Yeah, so tires, honestly, on the subject of tires at this racetrack, the only tires that I could see making sense to take would be the fronts, because Daniel, I remember you saying last week you can only change axle by axle, so I think fronts honestly would make the most sense because it could just give you better cornering grip. And with the rears powering the car, you only are going to really need those on these restarts. Obviously, it would be better if you could just change the right sides. That would definitely get the handling to be just so much better, as the right sides struggle a lot more than left sides do on a left turning oval. However, if you want to change all 4, that would really improve the handling of your race car, give you speedier reaction times, and it looks like Josh Clogg and Tim Cox going to head into the pits now. That's going to allow Bobby Ross and Jake Ham and Justin Barrera, the 3 drivers that pitted, to get themselves closer to the front of the field and give them probably an easier time saving fuel. But actually, now that I think of it, this strategy with pitting 1 lap later, so it looks like, yeah, Tim just took front tires there, and the strategy with taking fuel just 1 lap early, oh, Tim's taking all 4 tires there. I just saw the rears get lifted up. Yeah, there they are. So Tim taking all 4 tires, I assume wanting some better handling, but the strategy with taking fuel just 1 lap later than the rest of the field is you can save, or you don't have to save as much as the rest of the field, as the fuel you burn in that 1 lap can give you a much easier time under green when you have to eventually save fuel to make it to the end of this race. Because honestly, I think the drivers that pitted this yellow could possibly make it.
Yeah, and just to follow up on the tires, Bobby Ross did take 4 tires. We missed the change of the rear tires, or the change of the front tires in the pit stall, but about to head back green.
Yeah, as the field doubled up once more, Adam Thompson on the outside, Jake Luther, who has led every lap so far this race, there on the inside. The iRacing safety car dives back into the safety of the pit lane, and looks like Jake Luther being a little bit more cautious on this restart. There he goes. Looks like Kevin Irwin going to get to the inside of Adam Thompson, but Jake Luther cleared by a lot. There's Justin Barrera to the inside of Chet Duranick. That's her P4 already as they head into turn number 1. The field already starting to get single file now as they head onto the back straightaway. It looks like Jake Luther with a clear and easy lead. Kevin Irwin up there into second. Adam Thompson still in P3. Justin Barrera up to P4, and there's a train of cars that pitted now, stretching from Justin Barrera to Tim Cox, all formed up on the inside. Here's the onboard of Jake Ham right behind Justin Barrera. And now as they head down the front straightaway, it's going to be single file for a while now. It looked like Jake Ham peeking to the outside for a move there, just couldn't get any momentum, and that's just the name of the game, and that's what the outside line has been struggling with when they try to make moves, is they just can't get the momentum to work with them on the outside to make a move on these leaders. Kevin Irwin tried to get to the inside there on Jake Luther, couldn't do anything.
Yeah, to get to the outside and make a move, you're really going to have help from behind. So you might see later on when they're really earnest about making these moves. They'll back up, they'll get a little bit of a gap to the cars in front, and then they'll really try to reel them in and make a move with some bump drafting.
Yeah, and that's just the name of the game, is just trying to make moves with using a bump drafting, but the outside has just not been really where it's at all race. The bottom has just been where every car has gone and stayed so far in this race, as everybody that's gone up to the outside has just started to fade back through the field, as they just can't get moves done on the outside. They just don't have the momentum and the speed to make moves on the outside as the field maintains single file. But the one thing I do want to mention, this is just coming from my inner NASCAR fan, is from just watching countless races at the Daytona and Talladega Super Speedways. I know it's a very different style of pack racing than what we are witnessing right now, but single file creates a lot of energy throughout the field. And when I mean it creates a lot of energy, it means when cars start to poke out of line and get side by side going for moves, usually a wreck happens after they've been single file for a while and they go to double file to try and make moves. So I wonder if maybe towards the end of this race we might start to see some more wrecks, as that energy from it being single file starts to spread throughout the field, and maybe if they get double file they might not be used to it and they might start to wreck here at the end of the race.
Yeah, once you go too wide, you can definitely see some more aggressive moves being made, and even some mistakes. People think they're clear and they're not, and almost like that, where you get off track a little bit, get the car a little unstable, and if you're really tight on somebody's door, you can kind of bounce into them and cause some issues for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And just the bouncing of these cars, if I believe that's what you were talking about, Daniel, there's just you can see if we look on the front bumper. I believe this is Bobby Ross looking at the rear. Looks like he blinked out a little bit. You can see the rear of Jake Ham's car through these corners. The surface of this track is quite old, so it's a very bumpy track surface throughout this race, so it's not the easiest to get used to. And when you go up to the outside, you aren't used to those bumps on the outside line. It can really just throw the car completely off balance. As we're looking even on the inside, you can see the suspension through the front fenders there. You can see the wheels just bouncing up and down as they head through the corners. So you got to be very cautious when you go up to the outside. But Adam Thompson gonna try it for the first time this race. Gets right up alongside with Kevin Irwin now. Justin Barrera gonna follow him up through turns 1 and 2. A little bit of door-to-door contact there between the two. Kevin Irwin gonna stick his car below the apron. Adam Thompson gonna maintain the run around the outside. He has momentum. Now is that damage on his rear bumper gonna heal? There it goes. So Jake Luther has a battle for the lead for the first time tonight, is off a turn 4. Adam Thompson losing help from Justin Barrera behind him. Jake Luther still leads the lap as they come across the line, but side by side as they head into turn 1, 2 by 2 now. Adam Thompson going for the lead, trying to get there. He just can't get his nose out in front of the 19 car.
Yeah, our first real double file racing here, as you see Adam Thompson get a run out of 2, goes way high to avoid the side draft, and towing along Justin Barrera as he drops down now in front of Jake Luther.
Oh, and that's really unfortunate for Justin Barrera. Just pushed Adam Thompson to the lead and now loses his place in line, as it looks like he might be able to cut back in front of Jake Ham, but Justin Barrera is still staying loyal to that outside line, even though he doesn't really have any help. But Adam Thompson in the lead for the first time tonight at just about the halfway mark of this race.
Yeah, Justin Barrera is going to be kicking himself for trusting Adam Thompson to stay up there with him, as he dropped down and left Justin stranded, and now he's fallen back all the way to 6th.
Yes, he's still not clear to the inside. He's still right up on the outside up. Bobby Ross, they head into 1 and 2, but now Justin does have the help of Tim Cox and Josh Clog is Jake Luther going to be the next car to look to the outside. Now he'll join this lead pack. Adam Thompson moves up to the wall there, maybe to try and take away their draft, and Jake Luther going to be sent to the rear of the field now for the first time this race. Kevin Irwin on the apron. Can he keep it together down there? Yes, he can, but it looks like he's going to go for his green flag pit stop already, as it looks like Jake Luther did the same thing. So did Chet Duranick. So looks like the green flag pit stop's underway now for these drivers, but there's already a couple of drivers in this field who probably aren't going to have to pit. And I think actually Adam Thompson is the only driver in the field who has not made a pit stop this race after Kevin Irwin, Jake Luther, and Chet Duranick have gotten into the pits. So Adam Thompson, the only car out there who has not yet come into the pits, and he will have to soon. There he goes. But now, I think it's going to be a race between these 5 cars because they pit during that last caution, so I don't know if they'll have to pit for the rest of the race.
Yeah, we'll see how well they estimated their fuel strategy and how well they're going to be able to save in this second half of theirs. Oh, is there contact? Sends Tim Cox up toward the wall. Looks like he gathers it back up. That's not going to help this lead pack, though. They could, if they got single file and really start to put some laps in, they want to create a gap to that group of cars that's recently pitted under green, and maybe put them a lap down or so if they could.
Yeah, and now Kevin Irwin, Jake Luther, Chet Duranick, and Adam Thompson are just going to have to pray that either they can get a yellow from the lead pack wrecking, or that the lead 5 cars don't have enough fuel to make it to the end of this race and have to pit. Either way, it's not looking too good for Adam Thompson, Kevin Irwin, Jake Luther, and Chet Duranick at the moment, as it's still Jake Ham, Bobby Ross, Josh Clog, and Tim Cox, and Justin Barrera up in this main pack. The drivers that pitted under the first yellow, and it looks like if they can just get to the end of this race, it's going to be only the 5 of them up here.
But that is the question. Can they get to the end of this race without seeing a yellow flag? If they start to dice it up toward the end of this race, they could inadvertently hurt themselves by making their own caution and letting the other group of cars get right back to them. Although they are a lap down, so maybe only one if the lucky dog's in effect.
Yeah, so really not looking good for anybody down there currently. Is it looks like we have 25 laps to go in this race, as Jake Ham still leads Bobby Ross. It looks like they were trying to go side by side there after Adam Thompson, Kevin Irwin, Luther, and Duranick pitted during the just a couple of laps ago. So they were racing side by side then, but they get back to single file 4 now. Really, what it comes down to now between these 5 cars, and this is if they can make it to the end, it just comes down to who can make the right move at the right time, as it's really all a matter of who is the best, or really that's all it really has come down to right now. It's just who can make the right move at the right time.
Yeah, and we'll see. We saw Adam Thompson make a move to the outside, so we know it works, but really Justin Barrera is the only one that also has experience making a move in this race. So we'll see who's kind of worked on that this week and who's actually planned for making a move at the end of this race.
Yeah, and one driver that I've actually seen that has been a pretty good pusher on the outside throughout this race has been the 340 car of Tim Cox. Whenever drivers that are in the back half of the lead pack, whenever they've tried to make a move on the outside and Tim Cox has been the pusher, they've always been able to make some sort of move to at least maybe get around one of the cars ahead of him. So look for this 340 car to push someone to the lead towards the end of this race, as he has been very good at pushing throughout this race.
It looks like he got a little bit of a run there, but he didn't take it going into one. That's one thing. You can get checked up on the inside with everybody running nose to tail like that. So looks like turn 1 might be the action spot for making moves.
Yeah, and another thing is using that outside line, you get a better run off the corners because you're coming downhill more from the added banking up towards the top of the racetrack. So being on the outside gets you better momentum off these corners. So to start a move to get to the outside and try and get to the lead could come with taking a corner off the outside. Oh, Jake Ham almost went around there. Bobby Ross got right up on his back bumper, almost sent him completely around. Jake Ham got really sideways, but did a great job keeping that car under control. And that is pretty much what the cars in 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th all wanted to see right there. They are just probably wishing the 85 went completely around.
Yeah, that was an incredible save by Jake Ham. Just holding onto that car after getting a push through the corner. That's a tricky part to take a push in, is while you got some wheel into it during the corner. Down the straightaway, it's easy. You just hold the wheel straight and hope you don't get hit too hard. But corner can get tricky, especially if you get kind of middle or left side of the bumper on the rear of the car in front of you. You can really upset it and cause calamity, as we almost saw without the quick hands of Jake Ham.
Yeah, and there's something that I'm starting to notice between the gap between Josh Klong and Bobby Ross, and something I want to look at to test this theory. I want to go on board with Bobby Ross for a little bit, and then go on board with Josh Klong. Okay, so we're seeing the onboard of Bobby Ross right now, and now I want to listen to the car of Josh Klong right behind him, just to see what he's doing. So I wanted to see if I could listen to the throttle input to see what Josh Klong was doing, because with about a 3/10 gap last lap to Bobby Ross, I thought that Josh might have been saving a little bit of fuel just to make sure he can get to the end of this race, but it looks like no real difference in throttle inputs between the two cars. So really, I mean, I'm not sure if any of these drivers are going to have to pit again, as they're all pretty much just riding around full throttle right now.
Yeah, we'll definitely see that come into the end if anybody maybe short fueled a little bit. But right now, not sure how much Jake Ham's saving, but everybody else behind him is probably saving a little bit just to be on the safe side. So now we go back to battle for 6th with Adam Thompson and Kevin Irwin as they're working together.
Yeah, as it looks like, I mean, I don't think they're really closing the gap to the cars in front of them, but still, these are the first two cars after that lead pack, and they're right with each other. Jake Luther and Chet Duranek. I'm not sure where they are on the racetrack. Here they are. They're also right with each other, but just looks like they're not making up much time to the cars in front of them. There's the track map. So you see the lead pack is pretty much exiting turn 2 as Jake Luther and Chet Duranek are entering turn 3, and pretty much as Adam Thompson and Kevin Irwin cross the start finish line, the lead pack is about halfway down the back straightaway. So this lead pack definitely faster than all of the other cars in the field at the moment, and they just have to hold on to this position at the end of the race just to make sure that the other cars don't really even have a shot at winning this race.
Yeah, the back half of the field kind of looks like they got separated a little bit, and this 5-car pack that's leading going to have a lot more speed than a couple of the 2-car packs with the major separation between them. So it might be tough for those guys as we see Jake Ham move up and Josh Klog went to the outside, but looks like the run's not going to be there for him.
Yeah, and yeah, it looks like he's just going to fade to the back of the field now. Is Justin Barrera going to move up into 4th? Tim Cox going to move up into 3rd, but still Bobby Ross right on the back bumper of Jake Ham. Still, I mean, he's been back there ever since the rest of the field came into the pits, and it looks like the 3 cars behind him had just not been able to get enough momentum to get a run to the outside and try and get around these 2 cars. It's honestly, in terms of positioning when trying to race for the win, I would probably want to be in Bobby Ross's position, or maybe even Tim Cox's position there in 3rd, because if I'm Bobby Ross and we're on the last lap and I make a move to the outside, and Tim Cox really has nowhere to go to keep his hopes alive except following the 33 car if Bobby chooses to make a move to the outside. So Bobby would get help from Tim Cox, and that would probably push him into the lead and keep the 340 and the 85 side by side. So probably want to be in the 33 car's position, as really, I mean, it's all just coming down to track position at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I'd want to be. If you don't have a friend behind you and you make that move to the outside, they could kind of strand you and sneak on through past you and maybe make their own move for the lead. So we'll see. We see lap cars in the distance a little bit. Wonder if they'll play any sort of impact as they tag along to this field when they get to him.
Yes, that's pretty much what happened to Josh Clogg as he tried to get to the, he was in P3, he was trying to get to the outside of Bobby Ross and Jake Ham, but Tim Cox did not consider him a friend and did not follow him up there on the outside. And now pretty much these three just have to orchestrate a move to try and get around Bobby Ross and Jake Ham if they don't want to leave it all up to those two at the moment. They still have on lap 50 about 10 laps to go in this race when they come back to the line. So as actually no, they have to pit. So and Tim Cox gonna take Justin Barrera into the inside wall, and that probably should have been a yellow, but because they were in the pits, it won't count as one. But those drivers did have to come into the pit lane after all. So now this is going to be the chance for Kevin Irwin and Adam Thompson, who made their pit stops earlier, to get back up to the front of the field.
Yeah, they're going to pass the pit lane here and pick up their lap. So now they're on the lead lap with the leaders, and we'll see where they come out. If this lead packs had as much speed as we think they had, they could make a more of a gap. Bobby and Jake leaving pit road now. And Josh Clogg's also
just pitted. Yeah, it looks like he just pitted this lap, and it looks like the timing tower laps to go aren't really that accurate, as we're on about 9 laps to go on Jake Ham's end. So I think there might be a little bit of technical difficulties there going on for the timing tower, at least on my end. So I might have to fix that for myself. But Jake Ham, it looks like, as he comes back onto the track, he still maintains P2. So we'll see Josh Clogg come out of the pits now, and it looks like that is going to be all she wrote for Josh Clogg, as I don't think he's going to be in drafting range of Jake Ham and Bobby Ross unless he can maybe get help from Tim Cox and Justin Barrera behind him. But so far, it's going to be Jake Ham and Bobby Ross up front come the end of the race. So as they come across the line this time by, it'll be 8 laps to go, and we just have to see if if Josh Clogg, Tim Cox, and Justin Barrera can make a move to catch back up to these leaders, as they have fallen quite far back from the 85 and the 33.
Yeah, that incident we saw getting on the pit road cost those two some time, and Josh Clogg's kind of smack dab in the middle of this pack, or these two packs. So he's going to just be flat out hoping that these two leaders bobble and maybe slow themselves up enough so that he can get close to them before that second pack catches up to him.
And I think what Josh Clogg needs right now is he needs to let Tim Cox and Justin Barrera by and just start following them, because 3 cars are going to have more speed than 2s, and it looks like that's what he is doing, as it looks like Josh Clogg just falling back, losing time to the leaders as well as Tim Cox and Justin Barrera. So I think what Josh is going to end up having to do here is letting these 2 cars by and getting behind them and just starting to try and work with them to catch back up to the leaders with 6 laps to go. I honestly don't think they have enough time.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. There's not a lot of laps left and quite a bit of ground to cover. So we head back to the leaders, and they're just going to stay nose to tail, no mistakes, hit their marks, and just hope to get to the end of this race without seeing the yellow flag come out.
Yeah, as Josh Clogg, Tim Cox, and Justin Barrera now starting to form up, but I don't think they will be able to keep up with each other the way Jake Ham and Bobby Ross are. Now is Justin Barrera not following in line, so that's definitely hurting their momentum a little bit, and Tim Cox is just not on the back bumper, pushing Josh Clogg where they need to be right now. It looks like now he's doing it down the back straightaway, right on the back bumper, shoving this 199 car forward, but it doesn't look like they're making up any time at all, as Justin Barrera looked like just tagged the wall entering 3 there. That won't be a caution, but now Josh Clogg and Tim Cox side by side. This is the opposite of what they need to be doing right now, and I think this is just going to give an easier opportunity for the win to Bobby Ross, but honestly, yeah, I think these three have just pretty much just outed themselves in terms of a shot for the win now, as Bobby Ross and Jake Ham still right on top of each other. They're going to have a much easier time as they come out of turn 4. They're going to take 3 to go at the line.
Yeah, they're getting really racy there for third place. I think they realize that without some sort of miracle, they're not going to be able to fight for the win, so they're fighting really hard for third. They're over a second back on that lap, so yeah, they're going to be racing really hard for third amongst each other, with the win kind of out of their grasp.
Yeah, it definitely is. Now, as they head through 3 and 4, Bobby Ross gonna have to think about what he can try to do here. He doesn't have help behind him, so suddenly this move from sitting in second isn't going to be as easy as it may seem. Bobby could have tried to get to the inside there as Jake Ham left a little bit of a lane open, but it wasn't enough for Bobby to slip under. Maybe he doesn't want to slip under just yet, as we're on 2 to go now.
Yeah, I don't know if you can make a move with one car if you're the guy you're trying to pass is just stuck to the bottom of the track. So we'll see if Bobby Ross has anything up his sleeve for this last lap as they come through 3 and 4, approaching white flag.
As they head through 3 and 4 down the front straightaway, now the white flag is in the air from Charlotte. It's going to be the last chance for Bobby Ross to make a move on the 85 car. He can't do anything as they head through turns 1 and 2. It's going to all come down to this run down the back straightaway. Can Bobby Ross make this move? He's been tailing the number 85 machine pretty much ever since lap 30, and it looks like through turns 3 and 4, I don't know if Bobby has any last tricks up his sleeve to try and make this move. He'll attempt to move to the outside, get that side draft down the front straightaway. Here they come to the line. Bobby Ross trying to get around him, and he will! Bobby Ross edges out Jake Ham at the line by just under 0.02 of a second. Tim Cox in P3, Josh Clogg in P4, Justin Barrera P5. I did not think Bobby Ross was going to get that. What a finish.
Wow, what a move. As we take a replay of that last lap pass through 3 and 4, he just looks to the outside, gets a little bit of a side draft and pulls off so he doesn't get side drafted right back. They're side by side coming to the tri-oval. Bobby Ross goes wide to keep his momentum up as he just nicks it at the line to take the win. What a move.
Yeah, he pulled that off by about a front wheel. What a finish. What a move from Bobby Ross to get that win. And it looks like he'll come to a stop on the front straightaway. He's trying to get a burnout going. Can't get the clutch in. There goes Jake Ham getting it done. Now Bobby Ross can get the car turn around, and Kevin Irwin smacks into him. So does Justin Barrera. But here are your race results tonight from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Bobby Ross with the win, ever so slightly at the line. Jake Ham takes P2, Tim Cox in P3, Josh Clogg in P4, Justin Barrera in P5, Adam Thompson in P6, Kevin Irwin in P7, Jake Luther in P8, Chet Duranick in P9, and Jimmy Howlett in P10 there. As what a finish from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and that was such an amazing race to watch. What a finish from this racetrack.
Yeah, that was exciting. We weren't sure what we were going to see at the end there, but they managed to make it and bring the excitement. That's for sure.
Yeah, and another thing that I honestly did not think that they were going to have to pit to make it to the end, but it looks like the drivers knew more than we did up here from the booth, and they knew that they had to pit again and made a good stop at the right time, and that brought all of them, or excuse me, not all of them, that brought Bobby Ross and Jake Ham right up to the front of the field to fight for the win at the end of the race. And Daniel, I believe you are on by with our third place finisher, Tim Cox.
Welcome to the booth, Tim. As we saw your third place run there, how was the car and the action out on the track today?
Well, radical, standard, sticks like the proverbial to a blanket. It was just all about strategy. Picked that one up earlier in the season, and well, that's what took it home to third on the podium. If it hadn't been bumped coming into the pits and span, then I think it would have been a shout for the win.
Yeah, it looked like you and Bobby Ross, Jake Ham, Josh Clogg, Justin Brett, that you all seem to be on the same strategy, and just looked like that incident kind of coming into the pits kind of hurt you there. But you still managed to get third, and
It's all just about hugging that inside line and just not letting go of it, because as soon as you stepped up, the car behind you just got to run, and that was it. Game over. You were going backwards.
Yep. So good job bringing home the podium. And anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, there's a bit of a list. We have got the Pounder, Coxey's Annex, Buzzy and his love of Wales. We've got Tiny Hands, Massive Hands, Tiny Something Else, Ghoulborn. We've got the Cripple Chaser, Roland's. Oh, who else is there? Josh on finally managed to name his child after 6 months, to name but a few. Oh, and of course Cockram and his lovely sellotape face.
Well, that is quite the list. Congratulations again on bringing home third place in tonight's race.
Well, sometimes, mate, you just got to throw your keys in the bowl and go for it.
I like that, Tim. Welcome back to the booth, by the way. It's been a minute since you've been up here.
It has been a little while, and yeah, it's up being on this side of it. But yes, thank you very much, gents. Pleasure as always, and take care of yourselves.
All right.
And that was Tim Cox, the third place finisher from tonight. Is now I'm going to drag in Jake Ham. Jake, you led pretty much every single lap since the back half of the field had pitted, and you get just ever so slightly nudged out at the line. What's it like?
Hurts my feelings. Hurts my feelings a lot that Bobby went around me, but it was a heck of a finish, heck of a race, and the pit strategy worked out in our favor, and man, it was just fun. It was an overall fun night.
Yeah, it was a heck of a finish indeed. And what exactly, because from the information we gathered, when you guys pit on that only yellow on lap 19 or lap 20 there, I honestly, pretty much all of us up in the booth, we didn't think that you guys were going to have to come into the pits again. So what exactly was the strategy call there?
We knew that if the leaders didn't come in, they were going to have to, if we went green till the end, they were going to have to spend significantly more time in the pits getting refueled. These things do not fill up that fast. And so we're like, you know what? There's only 9 cars in the field, a second split between us all basically. And so went for it, and it played out in our favor. We had to get an extra 2.5 gallons to make it to the end.
Yeah, and it looks like you guys able to fill that up pretty quickly without losing any positions in the process. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, obviously, S&B Broadcasting, thanks so much. You guys hosting, commentating, appreciate it. Love to go back and watch. And thanks to all my friends and family and all my fans for watching.
All right, well, it's not quite the list that Tim Cox had. His was probably about a minute long list, but still a very good list nonetheless. Congrats on the P2, Jake, and hopefully we'll see you back up here next week from the Charlotte Roval.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys.
And that was Jake Ham, the P2 finisher from tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway Oval. And Daniel, I believe you are on standby with our race winner, Bobby Ross.
Yeah, we got Bobby Ross now in the booth for his interview, and we could talk about pit strategy all we want, and that just got you there. But coming to the line, how did you think that move was gonna work?
Oh my! I'll be honest. Throughout the whole race, Daniel, when people were trying to pass on the high side, it seemed like no one was getting any momentum. So that was just more like, okay, I'll go for it. Because but first off, I want to say my hat's off to Jake Ham. If it wasn't for him, me and him wouldn't have been in that position. Because he was like, all right, get this lap, and it was like that last lap, and coming into that last turn, I was like, well, either go for it, right? I'm gonna get a top 2 out of it. So I was like, you know what? I'm very happy. 2 wins. I had to wait 5 years to get my first win, and I ended up getting 2 out of the last 3.
Well, yeah, congrats on picking up 2 wins right in quick succession. So is there an agreement with you and J Cam working on strategy together, and then kind of hoping to be there at the end, and then the last lap race for yourselves?
At least on the last lap, yes. And it's still though, because he's helped me so much. Because I gotta repay the favor one way somehow later on this season. And but yeah, no, it's just fantastic race, fantastic finish, but yeah, it was just perfect pit strategy. And at first, I'll be honest, I thought Tim Cox and Josh Clogg were gonna get advantage on us because they pit a lap later than we did, but it ended up working our way.
Yeah, the pit strategy paid off, and I think they had an incident, and that kind of helped you guys out. But yeah, what a move! Still picking our jaws up off the floor for that. Anybody else you'd like to thank?
Yeah, so obviously I want to thank my mom, my brother, my brother's girlfriend. They're all watching it in the living room. And so yeah, thank you to them for watching. And yesterday I want to thank Team Indy Autosport Tokyo Drift. Yesterday we took part in the iRacing 24 Hours of Daytona, and we ended up coming first place in our split in the GT3 class. So a huge shout out to Mike Browning, Eduardo Pecorini, RC Rigdon, and of course J Cam. An awesome weekend for us.
Wow, yeah, that's quite the weekend, bringing home 2 victories. Congrats on that, and congrats on the win tonight. Alex, you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah, and another thing, I know it's your interview, Bobby, but I also want to give a shout out to, I believe it was Jake Luther, who also came P1 in his Daytona 24 split. So congrats to the both of you. Very, very impressive victories, and hopefully Daniel and I will see you up here once more from the Charlotte Roval. So have a good night.
Thank you, and always thank you to Slow Motion Broadcasting for putting up an amazing coverage as always. And also Justin Brera, he got P2 in his class too in the 24 as well in the Delara. So good shout out to him. Peace, everyone.
And that was Bobby Ross, your winner tonight from the Charlotte Motor Speedway Oval. And Daniel, what a race that we just got to watch.
Yeah, race was incredible. Sounds like we got some major talent in the field by the results of the 24-hour special event that we just had this weekend. So exciting as we especially move toward the road course next week. But yeah, great race all night, and what a move at the end.
Yeah, just what an absolute finish, and what a move from Bobby Ross to come in P1 at the end of the race. Fantastic move from him. It looks like that's all we have for you guys tonight. But first, we have some upcoming broadcasts to share with you this Tuesday, January 24th at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The American Muscle Series returns for their first race in a while with the Ford Mustang FR500s from the Circuit Zolder. That is going to be a very interesting show. I believe you'll see Tom Dillon and Adam Thompson in the booth for that race. And then Thursday, January 26th at 9:15 p.m. EST, we have Spec 5 World Tour coming back with their Mazda Miata MX-5 Cup cars.
They are at Monza combined this week as we look. Looks like we lost Alex there for a second. And then XSLR also returns next week from Charlotte Roval, these same Radical SR8s. So some exciting racing coming up. I think we lost Alex, so we'll send it off here. Great race, great win for Bobby Ross, and we'll catch you for race 6 of XSLR.
So Patrick, do we, do we describe this for everybody, Rob?
What?
You
What?
describe it. You describe it. I
What?
do enough talking.
I think any car's dead in iRacing. I think it's gone.
Oh, it's definitely. I agree. It's not going to survive much, but like, I still think we'll find opportunities to race it, just not as fruitful as before. Some of them just want to like make. What's the thing? Like that guy wanted to make like dolls out of Tyler's hair, but then there's just other guys who are just like. He did. He would say weird things to Tyler, man. Like he was a strange guy, and then like other guys would just show up and he's like, "Oh, we never met you? Sure, come race this 24 with us." And then you just jump in the car and wreck us out in a lap and be like, "Okay, never see you again."
Yeah, that
Like,
was
okay. Well, better luck next year, I guess.
that was the guy from